The 1960s was a decade marked by unique aspects that set it apart from the present era. For those who grew up during that time, the differences in entertainment culture and daily routines are significant. Here are 13 aspects of the 1960s that may be challenging for today's children to fully comprehend. Imagine waking up each morning and putting on wristwatches that needed to be wound up to keep time. Battery-powered watches were still relatively new and not widely available during this period. Learning to read analog clocks with Roman numerals or ticks was a common skill, unlike today, where digital clocks dominate. In terms of lifestyle, pregnancy in the 1960s didn't prompt drastic changes. Mothers continued with habits like smoking or drinking if they did so before, as the risks were not fully recognized. Looking back at photo albums, one might find images of pregnant mothers with cigarettes, showcasing a different cultural attitude. Getting to school in the 1960s often meant walking, as carpooling was uncommon. Children as young as 6 were sent to school on their own, learning to navigate their way. Walking home provided an opportunity to stop at a store for sweets, offering a nostalgic experience of buying candies with spare change. Toys in the 1960s came with a hint of risk, such as science experiment kits releasing toxic fumes or air pistols considered toys. Children embraced challenges, ignoring burns and scratches, seeing them as badges of honor. Backpacks weren't common. Instead, children carried textbooks, folders, and papers by hand. Watching movies in the 1960s was a different experience, with limited access to popular films. Cinemas were scarce, and there were no multiplexes. Mobile cinemas on wheels offered an alternative for catching a film. In the 1960s, during the Vietnam War, the aspect of conscription of young men for military service became a significant event. The United States conducted military conscription, calling up young men who had reached the age of 18. This process was regulated by the Selective Service System. Many young people who reached the age of conscription faced a difficult choice, either to serve in the army, going to the front in Vietnam, or trying to avoid service. There were cases of evading conscription, but in general, many of this generation served in the army. Many of them went to the front line during the conflict. The Vietnam War has become one of the most controversial and criticized military conflicts in U.S. history, and the conscription aspect has become a key element of public debate and debate. Cracking open a red egg containing silly putty brought joy to children in the 1960s. Silly putty was a versatile plaything, used for stretching or making imprints on newsprint. This product has become an icon of the American toy industry, and its popularity continues to this day. Despite the many new toys and entertainment, Silly Putty remains a symbol of fun and creative pastime, recalling childhood and joyful moments of games. TV dinners presented by Swanson have become a convenient option for families. Swanson has developed the concept of pre-cooked dinners packed in separated containers and heated in the oven. These dinners were designed to meet the needs of families who wanted to watch TV without spending a lot of time cooking. The first TV dinner, introduced by Swanson in 1954, included turkey, potatoes, peas, and gravy, all divided into 3 sections. An important aspect of the product was its packaging. The lunch was placed in an aluminum tray that could be heated directly in the oven. TV dinners quickly gained popularity by providing families with an easy way to have dinner in front of the TV. They have become a symbol of a quick lunch that can be easily prepared and enjoyed without interrupting watching TV shows. This trend shaped a new way of looking at cooking and highlighted the impact of television on the daily lives of Americans in the mid-20th century. Jelly was an integral part of the culinary culture of the 1960s and became a universal ingredient for many housewives. This product provided an opportunity for mothers to experiment and show culinary creativity by adding a variety of ingredients and creating unique combinations in desserts. At this time, various recipes appeared in which jelly acted as the main element. Mothers added fruits, nuts, berries, marshmallows, and even cookie slices to their jelly desserts. This trend reflected the desire for diversity and non-standard flavor combinations. One of the popular techniques was the preparation of jelly salads, where jelly was combined with various fruits, nuts, and mayonnaise, creating unusual flavor compositions. These desserts often decorated holiday tables and were popular at parties and family gatherings. Thus, jelly has become not only a dessert, but also a creative ingredient that allows housewives to express their individuality and experiment with diversity in the culinary traditions of the 1960s. In the 1960s, Westerns featuring legendary actors, including John Wayne, became an undeniable choice of entertainment for young guys and fans of Western adventures. Films starring Wayne, such as The Green Berets and Sons of Katie Elder, attracted viewers with their charisma and epic Wild West atmosphere. However, undoubtedly, the great contribution to the popularization of Westerns was the TV show Bonanza. Centered around the Cartwright family and their adventures on a Nevada ranch, this drama was the first Western to be broadcast in color. Bonanza has gone down in television history as one of the longest-running series, lasting for 14 years, and it has left an indelible mark on the perception of Western themes in popular culture. These Westerns not only brought exciting stories and a unique atmosphere of the Wild West, but also served as a kind of source of inspiration for the youth of that time. Cowboy hats, revolvers, and adventures on the desolate prairies have become an integral part of the cultural heritage of the 1960s. In the 1960s, getting a first job represented a significant achievement for young people, and this event was often perceived as an important step in becoming an adult. At that time, the labor market was different from the modern one, and the first job, even if it was paid less generously compared to today's standards, was of great importance. Often, young people began their working careers with minimum-paid jobs, such as part-time jobs, seasonal jobs, or positions in service industries. Despite the lower salary, these jobs provided an opportunity to gain experience, learn responsibility, and master the basic skills that were in demand at that time. An important aspect of the 1960s labor market was also that many young people considered their first job not only a source of income, but also an opportunity for learning and self-development. It was a time when the value of work experience and learning was valued higher than just the amount of salary. In the 1960s, the experience of returning cans and bottles for money was a common and familiar practice among young people. Children and teenagers often collected empty glass or plastic bottles that they found on the streets, in parks, or after events, in order to return them to the store for a small monetary compensation. This employment not only brought a small income, but also taught children responsibility and an understanding of the value of resources. The children usually stored the bottles in special bags or crates, and then went to local shops or supermarkets, where their bottles were recycled. Returning bottles for money was environmentally beneficial, as it contributed to their reuse and reduced waste. In addition, it also stimulated interest in saving and caring for the environment among children. Thus, the return of cans and bottles for money in the 1960s not only provided an additional source of income, but also formed the values of environmental responsibility and hard work among the youth of that time. Reflecting on the 1960s brings a mix of nostalgia and appreciation for the unique aspects of that era.